breathes. So if I get hit in the head, it would be first. Anybody who 3 words. Little Richard Penman. All right. So I'm from Macon, Georgia. I love my hometown. It's a great place to be born and raised. I was raised with Bibles and books. My daddy was a Baptist minister. He still is a Baptist minister, as a matter of fact. He was a police officer about halfway through there. He actually did not become a cop till I did. That's kind of an interesting story. He was 41 years old. So, but I was raised in a Baptist church, and my mother is an educator. So the 2 things I said I would never do is preach and teach. And here I am in church. And I am it. I got married to my wonderful wife in 2003. We're celebrating 21 years this year. We have 2 absolutely phenomenal children. We have Luke, who is 12. He'll be 13 in December. He is going to be a 7th grader this year, which is part of it. And then we have a 4-year-old little tornado. And Alexandria was born with her mama's looks and her daddy's attitude. And so my son looked at my wife the other day and said, "Mom, I'm never moving out because someone's got to take care of you and bail her out of jail." That is me. My hobbies, I love to hunt, I love to fish. As a matter of fact, tonight I will be reading South Georgia of the wild hog population most of the night. My wife is enough to let me go on weekend so I can hunt and fish and get out and do my thing. I also love history. I love genealogy. It's amazing what you find when you start studying where you came from. Extracurricular activities, I'm also, when I have spare time, I am the financial officer for, but that's not who you're here for. Who you're here for is Sergeant Josh Wilcox. As Minister Murphy said, this is my 23rd year in law enforcement. I'm not exactly 23 anymore. I feel like about 100. I spent the first 3 years of my career at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, which is in Forsyth, Georgia. If any of y'all are traveling back up 75 to Atlanta, you will go through Forsyth just north of here. I worked as a civilian jailer from the time I was 18 until I was 21. I did jail operations, courtroom security operations, and transport operations in that time. In 2004, I moved back down here to Warner Robins to work at the police department. I worked in patrol operations. I worked as a field training officer. I've been a state certified instructor since 2011. I've done, let's see here, lose track. Let's see, 10 of those years I was on the SWAT team. I was in charge of doing high-risk entries, hostage rescue, perimeter operations, less lethal operations. That was a lot of fun, by the way. A lot of adrenaline involved in that. The 8 best years of my career I spent in the schools. I was a school resource officer. I worked at several different schools here at Warner Robins, but my home was Northside High School right down the street here. I taught called the advanced programs like DARE. I taught that in 5th grade classrooms for 3 years. In about 3 years, 12 different schools taught about 4,000 students. The last group of those are graduating today. So currently I am the evidence and property manager at the police department. That means I'm in charge of the property room, evidence room. My job is to make sure that all items of property evidence are properly sealed, packaged, stored, maintained, and are ready for the courts to pick up when it's time to go to court. As of yesterday, at the start of business, I was responsible for 97,251 pieces of items, evidence and property. So any one of those goes missing or winds up damaged or destroyed, then the DA's office looks to prosecute. Way too pretty to go to jail. It's a high-stress environment. She said I was a certified instructor. I am. I've been a general instructor officers defensive tactics instructor since 17. Now, half the crowd doesn't come in here like, let's fight. Today. But we're going to talk about fighting. We're going to talk about fighting, and I want to make sure that if we are going to fight, that we are in good legal standing. Yes, right. We're in good legal standing. So, I'm going to throw this up here, and y'all can't see it up here, but they'll get it up there, okay? So, the title of my presentation today was Pathways to Safety in an Uncertain World, okay? Pathways are a route that we take to an ultimate goal of success, but sometimes those pathways, they got to go through territory which is not really comfortable to talk about, okay? I put a warning to all my lesson plans, especially when I'm talking about domestic violence. Not to be okay. Oh, she mentioned peer counseling. I forgot about that. So we have a program in the police department called peer counseling, and I'm a certified peer counselor. Basically, that is, we're not mental health professionals, but we are trained, nationally certified in counseling one-on-one with people, and that is for other officers who may have experienced a traumatic event. Just to give you some kind of a basic experience, an average person in their life will experience somewhere between 5 and 8 critical incidents in their lifetime. In an average 20-year career, someone in first response, public safety, fire, EMS, police officers will experience somewhere in the area of 800 to 900 of those. So, what we see, what we do today takes its toll. I tell people the mileage is high, so we have programs that are really starting to take hold nationwide. As a matter of fact, South Carolina was the leader in that. With the peer counseling and mental health programs for public safety. And so I'm happy to say that Warren Police Department was kind of in on the forefront there, and we've been working very hard to maintain our people at home. So again, it's okay not to be okay. I'm not okay. I'm sure there's people in here that are not okay, but we won't get through it, right? Now, one more little tidbit before we just jump head first into this. I was born and raised here as a typical Southern person. I have lots of opinions. Those opinions may not reflect those of the Warner Robins Police Department, even though I'm wearing their uniform. Those are my opinions and my opinions only, okay? So, we'll throw that little bit in there as well. We're going to start off talking about some stranger danger, all right? I wouldn't be able to tell you how to defend yourself if we didn't start with people you don't know, right? Okay? One of my certifications is I am a NRA School Shield Safety Assessment Professional. So what that means is I can go into schools, particularly, sometimes we do churches, we're doing those next weekend. And we look at the property, we look at the policies, the procedures, we look at the layout of the church, we look at the operations of the church or the school, and we tell them what areas may be a concern for safety. That can range from anything from fire extinguishers to doors that aren't working correctly, to intruders, okay? So the first thing you got to worry about, if you're going to protect yourself, you got to worry about the outside world, right? So crime statistics vary greatly depending on where you're from, right? Here in Little Warner Robins, we have our fair share of crime, okay? Most of our crime here, most of the person-to-person type of crime, when I say that, I don't mean property crime, like burglaries or car break-ins, I mean shootings and stabbings and things like that. There are two things that drive most of our violent crime in Warner Robins. Number one is going to be domestic disputes between people, partners, people living in the same household, or it's going to be people who are already involved in criminal activities. Okay, so the chances of you running into violent crime, usually if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're in areas where you're supposed to be, you're going to be relatively safe. Okay, but there's still a chance you might run into that. All right. Violent crime nationwide right now is actually down, believe it or not. But it is still higher than it was in 2019. Why do we use 2019 as a mark? Anybody know? The pandemic, right? People just lost their ever-loving minds. Right? We still haven't quite got back there, but we're working our way back, right? All right. So the average response time nationwide for first responders to get to your location when you call 911 is between 5 and 10 minutes. All right. That's a long time waiting on me to get there to help you, right? So what can we take from that? What we can take from that is the safety of yourself and your family is your responsibility. Understand, when you call 911, I'm coming. And I'm going to be blowing people off the road to get to you. But it's going to take me a minute. You're going to have to take care of yourself beforehand. Okay? Now, and forgive me, we're going to be kind of blowing through a lot because we have a lot of stuff to cover in a very short time to do it, right? If you have a question, by all means, put your hand up. I love questions. Okay? Questions mean you haven't fallen asleep yet. It's a good thing. All right? So, the first thing we're going to talk about is profiling. Wait a minute, please talk about profiling now. Okay. Understand you here. All right, when we talk about visual screening and visual assessments of people, okay, that's different than what you think about when you hear the word profiling coming from a cop, okay? Profiling is a valid, established law enforcement tactic, okay? Racial profiling is 100% wrong in every sense of the word, okay? That's not what we're talking about. What do I mean by profiling, right? My wife cannot stand it when we go out and we meet new people. And we get back in the car, she's like, well, what'd you think about them? I was like, well, she's great, he's trouble. She's like, how do you do that? Occupational hazard, right? All right. What you have to be able to do, if you're going to protect yourself and protect your families, you've got to be able to scan crowds, and you've got to be able to find the problems. Okay? Do I mean these people are bad people? No. Do I mean I'm judging people? No. What I'm doing is I'm picking up on human behaviors. Okay? Is there someone in this crowd who looks overly nervous? All right? Is it cold outside? But they sweating like crazy. Okay? Is something going on with that? All right? Are they static in one location? Are they just standing in one place watching everybody do what they do? Okay? Are they fidgeting one particular area of clothing? All right? Listen, I carry a firearm everywhere I go, on duty or off duty, because people have lost their minds. Right? Okay? That is my right to do so, even if I wasn't a police officer. Okay? But I'm left-handed, and I carry my handgun inside my waistband right back here, under my shirt. I don't like to wear it where everybody can see it, right? Now, that means do one of these. All right? If you pay attention to that, you'll pick up on people, one particular part of their clothing. If you've got a gun, or you got a knife, or something telling you, you're going to constantly move around that piece of clothing, all right, because it's on your mind. You can pick up on that. This is what I'm talking about by profiling, okay? Watching, and if you see the same person who shows up at all locations that you do during the day, all right, there are no coincidences, right? All right. If you see people who are obviously having a mental health crisis, probably not the safest to be around at one time, right? Now, I'm not talking about if we're in that job field, we're trying to help those people. That's a whole different thing, right? If you see the guy here on the side of the street swinging around a machete, probably not the best time to go up and ask them if they're okay. So, you laugh. You laugh. You laugh, but generally when I get there, there's someone going, I try to ask him if he's okay, and he's swung a machete at me. Right. Good to know, all right? Now, we live in a very digital age, social media, going live, streaming live, making videos. That's all normal now, right? All right. If you see some crazy teenagers over here doing the latest TikTok trend, this is not what I'm talking about when I say this, but someone who's doing surveillance, somebody who's taking pictures and video of things, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it, right? If they're walking around taking pictures of where fire extinguishers are, more exits are, or where there's large groups of people, that becomes a problem, right? So we have to be able to look at people and see when people are doing things that are not normal for people, all right? It's funny is that you get out, in my line of work, you get out in the middle of the night with somebody, like, hey man, can I talk to you for a minute? Man, why are you stopping me? Yeah. Listen, there was something I saw that said you ain't just walking down the street for your health. Okay? You know what I'm saying? We are trained to watch people. We need to be able to start watching people. My wife drives her crazy with the mall. Boy, it's like a radar going off, right? But I know what's out there. Okay? Next thing you need to be able to judge and look at when you're out doing your normal thing is, yeah, the sun came out. Look at that. Is your area. You've got to be able to assess your areas. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay? What if I'm going to an event? This is completely off the attacker type thing. What if I'm going to an event and it's been raining all day like they had outside, and they've got tile floors? Is that a safety issue? Right? So when I say assessing your area, these are the things I mean. What are areas that are going to be dangerous for you as a person? Okay? Do I need to avoid these areas? If I'm out at night, do I need to go park in a parking lot where there are no lights? Absolutely not. I need to avoid that, right? Hey, by the way, here's a really good tidbit, okay? What if you get pulled over at night by the police? Yeah. So Henry Ford, when he made these cars, they made these miraculous little things on these cars called blinkers, right? If the blue lights come on at night behind you, if you turn on your emergency flashers or turn on your blinker to let that police officer know that you're going to be pulling over and turning, and proceed to the next area that's well lit, if that makes you feel safe, by all means do it. What I'm going to do as a police officer, I'm going to the range and dispatch their signal, they're going to pull over, but they haven't stopped yet. And if I see that next parking lot over there, I'll know what's going on. Most of the time, as a police officer who's aware of that type of situation, if I need to pull you over, I'm probably not going to pull you over until we get to a parking lot where there's lights anyway. You know why? Because my body camera picks up better with there's lights outside. Question, yes?
I had a question. So we're in the DC, Maryland area.
Right, just got back from there last May.
Okay. So we've had situations where there are men impersonating cops. And one of the tips I heard, and I want to know if it's accurate or not,
right,
along with turning on your hazards, you can actually call 911.
100%.
Okay.
100%. You call 911, it's going to route you to whatever area you're in. So sometimes we have what we call regional 911 centers. We have one 911 center for all of Houston County that encompasses Warner Robins, Centerville, Perry, and the Houston County unincorporated areas, right? So you call 911, they say, what's your emergency? Yes, ma'am, I have what I believe is a police officer behind me. I'm not really sure, but I'm on this road in this area. Can you confirm that that's a real police officer and trying to pull me over? Absolutely, because the dispatcher is going to do two things. Number one, she will confirm it. She or he will confirm it. But number two, they're going to let that police officer know, I'm on the line with the person you're trying to pull over. This is why they're having a delay. So absolutely, yes, it's a great question. All right. Hey, look, we have light. Really, really tiny though.
Bring it back.
Well, I can see it. Can everybody out there see it? Maybe a couple lights off.
Yes, on the computer.
Give us 1 second with our technical difficulties here.
Right on it, that one right there, say, slide. That was it.
All right, so while they're working on that, we'll keep going. So when you're going into an area, when you're showing up at a venue, when you're getting out at the mall, when you're getting out at the shopping center or whatever, we're going to look at what here could be a threat to my safety. All right, we're always looking around. Anybody here like animals? I like to hunt and fish. I love being outside. I love watching nature. Right? Animals are always on the lookout for what? Predators. Same concept here. Right? Even though humans technically are like at the top of the food chain, I don't believe that sometimes, right? But even though we're up here, we're always looking for predators, right? We are always scanning. So what here could be a threat to my safety? Just like that tile floor we were talking about, right? Yeah. All right, just like that non-lighted area versus a lighted area, right? A parking place way out in the back or right up at the front, okay? Where is somewhere that a threat could hide or attack from? What do I mean by that? Parking lots are a really big thing for me, right? So I don't want to walk right beside cars that are parked, right? Because someone can just reach out and grab you and pull you between those cars, right? Give yourself some reaction room, right? If you see a car and there's a door just beyond it, maybe swing a little bit wider so you can see a little bit ahead of time what's behind that car before we walk in, right? Alleys right off the sidewalks, we're going to move out a little bit. My dad hates it when I'm in South Georgia when there's no traffic, right? My folks live down in the country. I'll drive at night right down the center of those 2-lane roads. It's like, there are lanes there for a reason. I'm like, yes, but there are deer on both sides of the road. So as long as there's not a car coming, right, I'm gonna give myself a little more room, right? Same concept, okay? This stuff is not rocket scientist, but it's what you want to do is get your mind into this constant mindset of, I need to be looking for these things. And in this world where we're so locked into what we're doing, how much stuff we've got going on, or God forbid these little computers that we carry around, right? We sit here staring at this while we walk in. We're not looking at what's coming, right? All right. Is this somewhere I don't need to be?
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute. Have you ever shown up somewhere and going, you know what? I don't think this is where I need to be. Right? God gave you those senses for a reason. Use them. Right? Okay. We're in a world now where we do a lot of shopping online. Facebook Marketplace. I mean, I love getting on Facebook Marketplace and just scroll to see what people got for sale. They are selling anything these days, right? If you're in one of Robin's at the police department, we have 2 marked spaces in the parking lot out front that says for internet pickups. So people can arrange, hey, meet me at the police department parking lot and do our little deals, right? If you show up to one of these things, and my wife has bought my stuff offline, I showed up with her in uniform, and so people are like, oh. Right? Well, if you show up to one of these things and all of a sudden it's just a blank parking lot, it's just you and them, that's a problem. All right? We don't know who anybody is when we show up to meetings. Right? Okay? Where's the nearest exit, or where's the best exit? All right, we're going to talk about the active threats, right? Active shooters, active threat thing later. All right, if everybody knows where the same exit is that the exit you want to go out of? No. You want to run over. Okay? So where is the nearest exit? Where is the best exit? All right, those of us who have been trained, military, law enforcement, first responders, if we go into a restaurant, we're going to be facing a door. We're probably going to have a wall behind us. Like it's like we're such trusted individuals. Right? It's even so bad that my wife, when we're out, she will not walk on my left side. She won't hold my left hand because she knows that's my left hand. She'll hold my right hand, right? Because she knows if something happens, the first thing that's going to happen is going to push her this way. This is going to be coming out. So she's in that mindset already, right? If I needed help right now, where would I go? Right? If you're at a venue, let's just say like a concert, or you're in a grocery store, something like that. If I needed help right now, where would I go? Who would I call? Right? Where would I hide? All right? And how about if something were to happen right now, who would know where I was? Do you tell people, hey, I'm going to the store, I'm going right down here to this store, and I'll be back in 15 minutes, right? That way someone's asking questions if you don't show up on time. Okay? I went on a hunt recently. I went on a turkey hunt at a wildlife management area, state land here in Houston County. And I get into the woods. It's still before daylight. I'm way about a mile and a half from my truck, way down the swamp. It's just me, just by myself. And I text my wife, and I drop her a Google Maps pin. And she says, "You never text me when you're hunting. Why are you sending me this?" I said, "Because Okie Woods Wildlife Management Area was set up as a refuge for the Middle Georgia black bear population. There are a lot of bears on this property. I don't normally hunt properties with bears, so I really would like you to know where I'm at." Because they look at me like I'm a Scooby stack. Visual screening. All right, we're trying to do this as well. Okay, Georgia. Now, a lot of who all here is from Georgia? We've got a few, right? Okay, so I will be preaching a little bit at the Georgia folks today because that's where we are. Okay, Georgia is what's called a constitutional carry state now.
Yes.
You do not have to have a permit to carry a firearm in Georgia. You do not have to have a permit to carry a firearm concealed in Georgia. That is your God-given right, guaranteed to you by the Second Amendment of the Constitution. Okay? Now, a lot of people are shocked about that, right? For other places, I get that. All right? But it's our belief that an armed society is a polite society. You're a lot quicker to not shoot your mouth off to somebody if they may or may not be armed. Okay? But just understand that a lot of people may have firearms, especially in Georgia, right? If they're carrying those firearms concealed, if they're not a trained professional at that, when they move, you will see it. You'll see the outline under their shirt. If I move in, I'm a big guy, right? But even if I move a certain way, you may see the handle of that firearm imprinting through my shirt when I'm carrying it. If you know to look for that, you'll get very good at picking that up. Okay? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about imprinting. Okay? Again, holding or fidgeting a particular area of their clothing. A lot of these young, I don't get it. They don't like to wear belts. I was told if you put on breeches, you put on a belt.
Yes.
They don't put on belts, so what are they doing there? And you will see that gun. You will see that gun. A lot of them like to carry it not in a holster, but in their pocket. That's a good way to get a bullet hole through it. Right? And there's some pretty important stuff that runs on the inside of your leg. Right? But you'll see the handle of the pistol sticking out of their pocket. That's not a great way to do that, but hey, you do you, right? Trying to keep a particular part of their body hidden from view. If they always, and when you move over here, they turn like this, and they keep turning around to keep this side of their body hidden, or this side of their body hidden, they got something there that's probably not okay, right? So that is a visual key. It's a visual thing that you can see and know something's not quite right here. I might want to avoid this person. All right? Okay? Now, I put this over here because God bless us, we are in Georgia. Just because you see someone who has a weapon on their person doesn't necessarily mean they are a threat. But what it does mean is we need to keep in mind, hey, that dude over there in that plaid shirt, he got a gun. So one of two things is fixing to happen. If something bad breaks loose, he may be the reason. But if something bad breaks loose, he may be the guy I need to jump behind, too. Okay? Just because someone has a weapon doesn't mean we got to call the police. But let's keep watching this person. And if they have a weapon, and then they're exhibiting some of those things we talked about with the visual screening, with the profiling and things like that, some of those suspicious behaviors, we might want to let somebody know about that, right? If we see something, please say something. Okay? Because again, that 5 to 10 minute response time, when we start getting into the active shooter, active threat portion of that, when something like that breaks loose, according to the FBI statistics, that's the one thing they're really good at is statistics. Every 7 to 12 seconds, someone's going to die. And there's a lot of 7 to 12 seconds in 5 minutes, isn't there? Right? So let's just think about that. If you see something, say something, get us there now, so maybe we can prevent what might happen, right? Emergency planning. This is a big thing right now. The government's really pushing emergency planning because a lot of the weather events we're having lately, right? Especially those of y'all from the Midwest. My Lord, God bless you. Y'all have been absolutely annihilating these tornadoes like that, right? I have a very good friend I graduated high school with who's a major in the Air Force, and I'm sorry, a lieutenant colonel, excuse me, in the Air Force, and they're stationed in Oklahoma City. Right now, they are absolutely great with tornadoes, right? So emergency planning is something the government has a lot of information on, and they're really pushing right now. But let's just take it down a notch, right? What am I going to need today in my personal life, in my living area here in Central Georgia, or wherever you may be from? What am I going to need to be safe today? What are those tools, right? Now, again, I told you I'm hunting fish. I'm going to be going out tonight hunting in the dark. Other people hunting things that can hurt us, right? So what am I going to need today? Well, I'm going to need all kinds of things. But one of the things I do carry are first aid kits, trauma kits. We have those in the truck just in case, God forbid, right? That's going to vary from day to day, right? Am I just running down to the store to get all gas? Weekend. And thank you for coming, by the way. We are so happy that y'all came to Warner Robins, Georgia. I hope it has been a pleasant stay. Okay. But does somebody know the route that you're going to be traveling on? Where you might have scheduled stops, right? And what time you may be arriving? Have I set check-in times with family or friends? My son comes after me. Can I go to the neighbor's house and play? Absolutely, you check back in with me in an hour. Number one, because I don't want my 12-year-old eating up all their food in the house. Come back home, snack, right? But do we spend in time with family and friends? Say it, before I home, be calling you just to let you know. If I were injured in some way, do I have access to something in my bag or in my car or something? Hey, here's an idea, and we don't like to think about business. We live in a world where active threats are very real. Agencies that'll give them away sometimes, right? Have you thought about that? If not, a tourniquet is needed. All right. If you see it, or you watch something, they make commercial tourniquets. I've got probably no less than 15 tourniquets in my patrol car outside right now. Just you can take them in a purse. You can take them and put them in a bag. Okay, those are for you. But you also never know when you might be the one to save somebody else's life at a car crash, or if they, God forbid, something happens to them at a supermarket, or God forbid, worst case scenario, you wind up in one of those active threat situations. You may be the one to save somebody's life by applying something as simple as So do I have safety equipment? I might need. My father's a type 1 diabetic. An insulin pen with him in case his sugar dropping, right?